Hi guys, I'm freshly after watching the 5th episode of Kenobi, and man, that was confusing. This episode was a one huge mess. It's the level of confusion of The Last Jedi, I swear. Really. I have no idea what the main objectives of characters are at that point. Like, zero clue, seriously. Because all and completely everything changed in this episode. Like, everything. The tables have turned, and we have we have had our expectations subverted completely. There's just so many ridiculous things happening here. The first thing is Darth Vader giving the position of the Grand Inquisitor to Riva. Like, it's ridiculous. Why? He just wanted to kill her in the previous episode, was clearly angry and displeased with her. Then just spared her only because it turns out that she put the tracking device, on the droid Lola, and only that thing saved her life at that point. But right now we're starting with her being given the position of the Grand Inquisitor by Darth Vader, and she did absolutely nothing to get it, nothing to achieve it. Then we have Obi-Wan and Leia arriving on the rebel base, and there's a couple of problems here. Like, first of all, it's so stupid that they leave those inscriptions with some, Jedi words or some rebellion slogans on the walls, and clearly, the logos of rebellion and the Jedi. This is just so stupid. If you ever get found out, even by accident, if someone sees that, then it becomes clear that the rebellion is having some involvement in that area, right? You're just going to drive unnecessary attention to yourself. Isn't it really important to stay low profile and non-recognizable in those circumstances when you are the minority that's fighting a ruthless empire that has got no problem killing and exterminating all of you if they ever find you? And what you're doing, you're just leaving the trace in shape of these stupid messages on the wall. They're just stupid. This is something that kids would do. Teenagers, they put stuff like that on the wall to, express themselves or whatever they believe at, or some of their ideals. That's something that teenagers will do, but not, in the circumstances when you're fighting freaking war and you're trying to stay hidden and keep low profile. Like, it's just so ridiculous. And then Obi-Wan miraculously finds like the entire like box of lightsabers there. What those lightsabers are doing there? How come the rebels have them? How? Given the fact that after the Revenge of the Sith, lots of the Jedi lightsabers that were killed during the Order 66 were just burned by Palpatine. So really, I have no idea where they got all these lightsabers from. Like, not that many Jedi survived Order 66. So are you saying they are like Jedi still fighting somewhere out there that those lightsabers could have belonged to? And if that's the case, then what happened to those Jedi? Either dead now? How come the rebellion got a hand on those lightsabers? There is one comics about Darth Vader, how he gets his Sith lightsaber from, and he essentially has to travel somewhere to like a remote planet when he finds a Jedi that survived Order 66 because he took some kind of special vow to bind himself from renouncing all Jedi activity. And that's the only reason why he survived Order 66, because he was a hermit. So suddenly, where do you got all those lightsabers from? Where are those Jedi? Where are they? Isn't the whole point of the premises right now that Jedi are pretty much extinct? And wasn't the Luke Skywalker like the first Jedi in that generation? I know we've got Ahsoka somewhere there, right? But Ahsoka isn't really officially a Jedi, is she? So that is another major what the hell is going on, but wait, because it really gets better. Then we have Obi-Wan meeting Haja, one of the guys that helped him escape before, because as we all know, Obi-Wan can't do anything himself. And he confesses that he's now part of the rebellion because he got into a fight with Riva and now he's on the run. So that another example where Riva is proving herself to be incapable and non-efficient because she's basically got outsmarted by some low-profile basic criminal when she's an inquisitor. So again, I don't understand where the position of the Grand Inquisitor is coming from. Then the Imperium finds out their location and basically like the army lands and they prepare for the assault, and they've got some kind of issues with the door that are like blocked or something. So obviously Leia solves the problem and just tells everybody what to do, and there crowds inside some kind of like a little box where all the like electronics are, and she obviously solves the problem, and they're about to get annihilated, but Leia obviously isn't scared and keeps her composure, and from everybody who's there, including the rebels, the Jedi, the general, the fighters, the soldiers, like literally everybody, she's like the most calm and peaceful, and she's not scared at all. Because as we all know, lads, that's how it is. When you're about to get annihilated and the freaking army arrives, it's the kids that keep their shit and men that cry. That's how it looks like. And then, guys, just hold me, because I am about to lose it, as the scene that appears after that is just so terrible and horrible. I have no words. Bail Organa calls Obi-Wan. And as he answers, he's basically saying, yeah, I know, I've told you that we will not be keeping any communications, but you were silent, so I am calling you. For God's sake, Bale, if you have said that you're not going to be keeping any communications, then it's normal and understandable that Obi-Wan is silent because you agreed to keep no communication, for God's sake. Who the hell wrote this retarded script, man? Not only Obi-Wan, not only Darth Vader, but now also Bail Organa is a freaking idiot. And wait for it, he's saying, oh, you've been away so long, we have no idea how Luke is going on Tatooine. So now Bail Organa is going to fly to Tatooine to make sure Luke is safe. Not like he pressured and took Obi-Wan, who was supposed to look after Luke and make sure he's safe, on a mission to save Leia, because he said that she's equally as important as Luke, that now he is going to fly to Tatooine to make sure Luke is safe, that he endangered. Look, Bale, why from very beginning you didn't take care of Leia and use your intel, your army, your people, whatever that you have, I'm not sure at this point if he actually has got his own army, but he's got something, he's got his people to do his job, right? He's got his people. Why didn't you go to save Leia, but instead you went to Tatooine to got Obi-Wan to do that, so he left his post, and as you said, left Luke vulnerable because you've pressured him to do that. And right now you're like concerned about Luke's safety, so now you are going to Tatooine to make sure that he's okay. This is so freaking roller coaster, man. This is... I have no words. How retarded, stupid logistics it is. Why, Bale? Why? For God's sake, like, are these people retarded? Like, it looks like they are. Bail Organa is a freaking idiot. Obi-Wan is an idiot. Darth Vader is an idiot. Everybody there is stupid idiot. Everyone is idiot. Apart from Leia. Only Leia isn't an idiot. Yeah, as I said, this is the last Jedi level of a movie. And also it does look like Bail Organa knows that Darth Vader is Anakin. So now nearly everybody knows that Darth Vader is Anakin, even though it was quite a big secret and Darth Vader used to kill everyone that knew it. And how the hell would Bail Organa knew it? How? How would he know it? Only Obi-Wan knew that that Vader is Anakin from the Revenge of the Sith. Bail Organa had no idea about that. But now it totally looks like everybody knew it apart from Obi-Wan. After that, we've got a couple of flashbacks to the Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan is training his 48-year-old Padawan, and Hayden Christensen looks absolutely horrible, like... Oh boy, years definitely were not kind to him. He looks like my granddad, honestly. And it's ridiculous that they didn't de-age him. I mean, without that CGI, all this computer technology that you have at use, you couldn't possibly de-age Hayden. I don't understand. You could make entire CGI Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian, but you can't de-age Hayden that you've got. It's ridiculous. It really looks like majority of the budget for this series was just pocketed by someone, seriously, because the special effects are so cheap. They look worse than in some action movies somewhere from the 60s with the 50s, when they had nearly no technology and they had to do everything themselves. That looks better than this, It's ridiculous. And then the Empire attacks and Tala dies. Nobody cares about that, but they try to make it such a huge emotional moment. You have some massive violin playing, some slow motion going on as she rises the bomb, basically committing suicide and detonating it, killing loads of stormtroopers in the making. And there is this weird scene with the droid that he basically shields her from the blasters, and it totally looks like they have some kind of romantic relationship going on. I was a little bit confused because there definitely have been some emotional charge there, but at the same time it's just weird because I don't know if it's actually possible to have this type of relationship with a droid. And the second thing is, it was not shown anywhere before, so I really have no idea how to feel about that, but it was weird. So they really tried super hard to play it as very emotional and, sad and sacrificial, but they've made it way too obnoxious. Just way too much. The music was too loud and too dramatic. Obi-Wan was screaming, obviously, because he's not capable of anything more than that, as we learned from the previous 4 episodes. The entire scene where Tala raises her hand and detonates this bomb is like in slow motion. Way too slow, way too much emphasis, way too obnoxious. And I don't really think anyone cares about her. We didn't have the opportunity to really bond with her. And here is another problems with those modern productions. You're just told you're supposed to like the character or that they are noble and important and etc. They may actually do some sacrifice, yeah, but it's not really like you care because there was not too much investment in that character. I think it was played way better in Rogue One, definitely. Then you've got a really dumb scene with Riva where she and Obi-Wan just walk next to the door and they like feel each other through it, and Obi-Wan figures everything out, how Riva is the youngling that survived, and she's basically hunting Darth Vader and she's working in disguise, so that's Riva's true objective. She wants to get close to Darth Vader so she can kill her as a revenge for killing all the younglings in the Jedi Temple during the Order 66. So everything that she did for this higher noble cause that was killing Anakin Skywalker. And also it does feel cheap. It's just cheap. It's done way too fast. If you really want to play a spy like that, if you really want to give her this character arc, I think that could have been actually very interesting. If you had show that's separate from Obi-Wan, you introduce an original character of Riva, make her own show that oscillates around her, that's got nothing to do with Obi-Wan or Leia, they could have some cameos there like they did in like Rebels, or some Jedi Fallen Order, things like that. They could have had a cameo there, but the entire show could have been around Riva and how she's trying to execute her plan. That could have been, in my opinion, that could have been a very good show, actually. But not here, not in those circumstances where, as I said, this show is supposed to be about Kenobi, not about Riva. Is it bad to have a show about Riva? No, it's not, but make it the Riva show. Don't do these things in the Kenobi show. And this type of characters that are working in disguise in the enemy lines have been done in, for example, the Attack on Titan, when you have the character of All, and he does lots of evil things, very questionable actions. In fact, he kills his own people. And it's not really resolved whether or not his actions were justified, good or bad. He himself feels very conflicted about what he's actually did. And the author never actually resolves that question, it's just left there on a cliffhanger. But I guess entire Attack on Titan is quite a morally grey manga or anime. But that's just the example of doing this type of characters. And we, as audience, we are also conflicted. We are trying to figure this out, were those actions justified or no? How do you look at it? Greatly depends on your personal worldview, And those things are very good. They force you to think, and that's good thing. But here the entire problem with this premise is that it steals the show from Obi-Wan, And it could have been well done. Really, it could have been well done, because I personally think that this character arc could have been really interesting if it's played well and not forced into the show that was supposed to be about something else. That is the major problem here, in my opinion. But anyway, after they are done talking, Riva breaks the door with lightsaber, which also I think is a bit gives the lightsaber a little bit too much power. I know they are strong weapon, but I'm just wondering, are they actually capable of breaking through such door? Can they? I'm not sure about that, but that's what she does. And then the stormtroopers march inside. Obviously, they miss every single target apart from Tala. Yeah. So they then retreat behind the other door, and another stupid moment happens where Obi-Wan basically gives his lightsaber and his communication device to this guy Haja, who was basically a criminal, and well, we already know that he's a liar and a cheater, so the question is, can we actually trust him? Probably no. And he gives him the mission of taking care of Leia, that he actually refuses to take, but Obi-Wan doesn't care. Obi-Wan simply tells him to do it. I'm like, okay. Well, I understand that situation is dire and you have to think quickly and, stress and stuff and you're about to die. But in my opinion, wouldn't it be better to give Leia under the care of the rebel general rather than, some low-profile criminal? I'm not sure about that. Well, it could be a good idea, it could be. Just the problem is that Haja refuses to follow through on it. He just tells Obi-Wan that he will not do it. But Obi-Wan just doesn't care and just leaves him there with his lightsaber and the tracking device. I'm like, Obi-Wan, what? And stuff like that works out, only in movies. In real life, when someone tells you, I'm not gonna do that, they are not gonna do that. And if you follow through on what you think they should do, rather than on what they are actually going to do, then you're gonna get yourself screwed up quite badly, because in normal circumstances, Haja would simply leave Leia there, not giving a damn about her. And I do understand that it is a fiction and sometimes they need to put this like nobility there and or something. But the problem is, usually people will do something only if there's something in it for them, or there is a reason for doing it. There's always must be a reason. But here you have, Obi-Wan telling Haja to take care of Leia only because he tells him to do so. And there is no really a rational reason for Haja to do that, you know what I mean? And in real life, people just don't care. And that's another example where I think is sending a little bit of a bad message if someone actually buys into it. And I am again talking about kids that are gonna watch that, if the kids gonna watch that. Because again, I'm not that sure that kids actually want to watch that stuff. But if they do and they're gonna be raised on that bullshit, then again, it will not work out for them, in my opinion, and I don't like it. And then, the fight continues and everybody's losing their freaking mind, including the soldiers and the generals, but, Leia keeps her shit, like, she's the only one that doesn't panic. She doesn't show a slightest emotion. She's level-headed, no problem whatsoever. She acts like, Mikasa from Attack on Titan, like, literally, And I mean an adult Mikasa. I'm not talking about the child Mikasa. So then Obi-Wan decides to just give himself in to Riva because he hopes he can manipulate her into going against Darth Vader when he arrives. And I am thinking, well, it's probably very silly. Sorry guys that I'm laughing, but it is quite silly and it's really forced. First of all, I think going against Darth Vader in front of an entire army of stormtroopers is not a good idea. You're just making yourself an open traitor. Second thing, even if she does, which she does eventually, what makes her think that, well, Kenobi is kind of on her side now? Because she's going to be left as a lone player from that moment onwards. I don't think she can come back to the Empire after she's proclaiming herself as a traitor so openly. And, will there be a place with her among the rebels, considering how many Jedi she killed? Well, unless there's something in it for the rebels, I guess, she could have tried her chances there. I guess she knows all the intel of the Empire, so that could have been useful for them. And another thing is that Obi-Wan is trying to manipulate Riva right in front of the entire freaking army of stormtroopers. I don't think it is a good idea, like, can anyone hear that? And it looks like Riva is actually going with it, and the stormtroopers just watch that, you know? So then Obi-Wan frees himself and runs away to the ship, and our boy Darth Vader arrives. He charges straight into it, and he stops the ship from taking off with the Force. And I've seen Ahsoka attempting to do something like that in the 7th season of the Clone Wars with Darth Maul, but it didn't work out for her. So I'm not entirely sure if is he actually able to do that? Can Darth Vader stop the ship from taking off using the Force? Can he? I don't remember something like that happening ever in any Star Wars movie, like, successfully. And also, as far as I'm concerned, obviously Darth Vader is strong with the dark side, but also because of his injuries, he's lost quite a lot of his power. So I'm just wondering, could he actually be able to do it? Because Darth Vader is not actually as strong as he used to be as Anakin Skywalker, and that is a little bit more evaluated in the novels. So if Anakin couldn't do that, can Vader do it? I'm not entirely sure, because again, he's lost some of his strength, but he's also strong with the dark side, so I guess that really depends. But then another stupid stuff happens because he's catching this ship, stops it, and then like dismantles it, and we see that there's nobody in it. And then after Vader realizes that it's empty, the second ship pulls out and leaves. Yeah. But wouldn't that just allow Vader to catch them again without too much of a problem? Unless they wanted the pilot from the first ship to safely get to the second one and then escape with him, but that's very risky. But we know that rebels are good guys and they care about each other, so they would do stuff like that. But again, I think that's risky and just gives the Darth Vader the opportunity to catch you. It would be way better to put like a droid on the first ship, for example, to pilot it and distract Darth Vader, and when he catches it, then you can start with the second one when he's engaged with the first one. Then you can escape, because by the time he disengages and then engages you, you can be somewhere, outside of his range or something like that. That's better in my opinion. So then Riva engages Darth Vader, and there were some aspects of this fight that I liked. First of all, you clearly can see the differences in power. Vader is clearly stronger. He blocks every single of her attacks and he doesn't even make it a big deal. So I enjoyed that. You see that Riva is trying hard, but she's clearly not nearly strong enough to take Anakin down. Obviously, Anakin is fairly confident he can take her down, so he disarms her, and after that destroys her weapon, bringing it down into 2 lightsabers, and even gives one to her, and then engages her. Like, it looks like they're having some kind of master-student relationship when the student simply turns against the master, and the master wants to teach them a lesson, you know what I mean? So he wins, obviously, and after that it looks like he knew about her plan from the very first minute. He knew that she's after him and that she was the youngling in the temple. He outsmarted her totally. And then we have a scene showing that he stabbed her in the Jedi temple during the Order 66. At least it looked so. And then he stabs her again. So it looks like she's been stabbed twice, and she survived both of those stabbings with the lightsaber. So as she lies on the ground, you know who appears? Somehow the Great Inquisitor returns. He just walks right into the scene like nothing happened, and tells Riva that his desire for revenge has kept him alive. And yeah, he's back to the game, lads, and he's the Grand Inquisitor now. So then he just lives with Darth Vader. And then another stupid thing happens. We basically see Riva's weapon lying on the ground, not destroyed, like still, 2 lightsabers connected together. But wasn't it like 5 minutes ago that Darth Vader destroyed it? But nah, it's not destroyed. It miraculously came together. Just like that. And that just tells me, what they actually think about the people who watch that, and people who actually think this is like cool and enjoy it and are not gonna scream and shit themselves basically because show is so badass and amazing, and they just fed this bullshit and they actually think this is good movie. This is like ridiculous. It's stupid. You can't have the weapon lying on the ground in perfect condition when 5 minutes ago it was completely destroyed. Like, freaking logic of that stuff, you know. And then Riva spots something lying on the ground, and that's the communication device that Obi-Wan gave to Haja, you know. Who could have guessed that he's going to drop it somewhere? I wonder if he didn't drop the lightsaber somewhere there as well. So she picks it up, and there's Bail, stupid retard Organa, coming out of that and telling, you know, everything about Luke and Tatooine. So that's how Riva will find out that Luke is at Tatooine, and probably the next episode is going to be evaluated a little bit more, because we all know that she's just going to get up and just walk away, instead of the fact that she's just been stabbed and with a lightsaber, and that Darth Vader should have probably just killed her if he were the actual Darth Vader, you know, not this whatever that black guy is at this point. So that's about it. That's how the episode concludes. What a freaking mess it was. I still think The Last Jedi is worse than that, but the level of confusion here was real. First of all, it is clearly the Riva story, not Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan and entire rebellion are just extremely incapable, stupid, silly idiots who can't do absolutely anything. Obviously, they have a bit of an inferior position to the Empire, but that was always the case. They were just a bunch of rebels that were trying to fight their way from the evil Empire, you know, and the Empire was always stronger and had more resources, better technology, you know, better training, things like that. But the original rebels weren't silly, emotional idiots who just made so many basic mistakes. And they also weren't crying all the time, you know, just drowning in the stupid self-pity. It's ridiculous. Another thing, obviously, is totally incompetent Obi-Wan that can't protect Luke, and now Leia. Bail Organa also is a failure. Basically, they both are idiots that I don't know how they've managed to protect Luke and Leia. I have no idea, and it looks like only because they're on the mercy of the Riva at that point. And there is just too much emotions, you know, and it is a bit of a contrast to the shallow plot, because the plot is extremely shallow and stupid, but the emotions are over the top, and the music also tries hard to create some kind of drama and to make you feel sorry and emotional, like you know, with the sacrifice of Tala, for example, or this pilot in the last episode. It's just over the top. You don't actually feel anything because you don't care about Tala, nor you care about this pilot, nor you care about the Obi-Wan, because you know he's gonna survive, obviously, you know. So you don't really care about anyone. You're not really invested because you know that these people are going to survive, and those who die you don't care about. But at the same time, the emotions and the entire atmosphere, the music tries so hard to communicate this heaviness and this emotional depth, which it just totally fails to do, and it's a bit interesting to me to watch how hard they're trying to make it meaningful and have this emotional depth, but they fail at the same time at it completely, and it just looks obnoxious to me. So I guess that would be a good place to finish. We're nearly 30 minutes into this review, so I'm not going to be torturing you anymore, guys. I got quite carried away with my reflections here, but uh, kind of, it's not my fault, you know. I'm gonna play it like that. It's not my fault this episode is such a mess, and it takes time to point out all ridiculous stuff in it. I could have said more, I guess, and probably I will make more videos about this topic in the future. I have some ideas about especially how they could have played Riva and Obi-Wan differently when they actually want to portray Riva as disguised rebellion, vengeance-seeking person that you're supposed to at least empathize with, maybe not like, but at least empathize with, and Obi-Wan as a broken, depressed man. I have two ideas for the next videos, and I'm definitely going to produce them, but that will be after the show concludes. So that will be somewhere, you know, in the next 2 weeks, guys. So stay tuned. If you've enjoyed what you watched, then please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. See you guys, enjoy.